Hi Stampers, this is Debbie Henderson from Debbie's Designs. Today we're going to take a peek to see what is in the August 2017 paper pumpkin box. A lot of us were given sneak peeks that we were able to see, so it was pretty exciting to know that we were receiving cards this month. And look how thick this is. There's actually a box to house all of the cards in. So let me get my X-Acto knife so we can see what is in here. I love this little holder. It's got the acetate cover that slips right on top. Whoops, I'm trying to pull it out here. Beautiful striped ribbon, some twine, the mini stamping dimensionals, and look how pretty this is. And I know by seeing the sneak peek that the flowers and the leaves go with the cards that we're going to be making. And this month's ink is Night of Navy. The stamp set looks like Sympathy and Thinking of You card based. It's got with much sympathy, it means so much, you did it, thinking of you, and then these beautiful flowers and branches. We have some cute little flower die cut shapes. Those are really neat, and I'm assuming the stamp image is going to fit right over that. So there's 6 of those, and the same thing, and this would be Pool Party, and this would be our Peekaboo Peach. Same flowers. Then we have the tags, which have the Night of Navy on them. Some cute little branches. And then for the envelopes, they have little stripes on them. So there's 4 with this color and 4 with the peach color. And then we have the card bases. Oh, and here's some oval cutouts. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of the Peekaboo Peach. Some more die cuts. These are little flowers, leaves, and then 4 more with this color. So let me set all of this aside and we'll get to creating. And look what I just noticed while I was putting my stuff away. You have the blank white oval that I already showed you. The other 2 sheets that were sitting behind it are pre-printed, so that was easy to miss. When I started looking at the direction sheet, I couldn't find the stamps that had the thanks and the congrats, and that's why, because they're pre-printed. So I'm going to bring in 1 of each card base, and as you can see, the directions are right here, but I'm a visual person. I can usually just look at this and see how to make it. One of the tips that I've already read about is when doing your flowers and getting them ready with stamping the image on them, some people are actually cutting them in half after they're stamped, and they can go on 2 different cards. So you stretch them quite a bit by doing it that way. So let's get the stamp out here. And I'm going to bring in my larger pad of Night of Navy ink. And something I'm going to do to make it a little easier to stamp, I'm going to add just a little bit of snail on the back of this so it doesn't move on me. And I'm going to ink up the little image. And you do line those up with the petals. I can see I didn't press hard enough on that one. I should have brought my stamping pierce mat over. Okay, so there's the flower. And because some of that can get tucked in underneath, I'm going to cut in half right where the 2 petals that didn't stamp correctly. And I'll just make sure that that tucks in some. And we are going to use 1 of each oval. I'm going to go ahead and stamp the blue flower also, and again I'm going to add a little bit of glue turn it around. And again, we're going to cut this in half. Now on the peach card, we're going to use the congrats. These cards are really quite simple but fun at the same time. Would be great to travel with these ones because you really don't have that much stamping if you want to follow this design. It's just going to tuck right in here. And then we're going to add the little flower centers. So I'm going to need 4 of those. And we're using the stamping dimensionals, the mini dimensionals. And I'm sure you guys realize by now that we are actually selling this, the mini dimensionals now. They're in the new annual catalog that came out June 1st. And these are so tiny and so cute, and they're perfect for the smaller sentiments. So that's going to go right here. And one at the bottom. And then for the peach one, we're going to add some of the leaves. So these are self-adhesive. And you can actually turn them which way you want if you want to give them a curve. Now on the one that they have up here, it's a little shorter, so I'm going to trim it and tuck that under. And then we need one more. And that one's going to go right under the sentiment. Okay, and that's card number 1. See how quick that was? Now we'll work on card number 2. And same thing, we're going to glue the sentiment down. And the instructions probably don't say to do it this way. But as I said, I'm a visual person. I just go for it. Now, because this one was messed up a little bit, I'm just going to tuck that part in so you can't even see it. And we're going to bring out the little image that has the little branch shape to it. And where's my leaves? Okay. We're going to use the larger leaves. And we're going to add the stamp image right in the center like that. And let's see, we just need 2 of those. One goes right here, and the other one goes at the top. And then we're going to add a few of the branch images. And again, I'm going to trim this one. For those of you guys that are demonstrators, I have a gathering each month for my Paper Pumpkin subscribers that are local. This would make a nice class because these could be finished in one night for sure. Okay, so there's that, and then we just need the 2 flowers. And that's card number 2. So these were made exactly like the kit contents. And of course, you know that I always come up with different designs. Now let's look at the box. Now the box is pretty simple. You're just going to need a tag, the ribbon, and the twine that came with the kit. So the cards will go inside with the envelopes, of course. Then you're going to put the clear case on top. And the ribbon is a little crinkled from being in the mail, in the box. I'm going to take my bone folder and just run it across a couple times, and it flattens out the ribbon for you. Okay, see how nice and neat that is? We're going to wrap that around the box and create a bow. And then all you're going to do is actually use one of the tags. Let me just puff up my bows here a little bit. And then I'm going to trim the ribbon. And the tag, we're going to add the little to and from. And then all that we need on the tag is one of the smaller leaves. It's so cute. And another of the flower with the stamping dimensional. So I'm going to add just one in the center. And that's going to go right here. And then you take your twine, bring it around your ribbon, and you're also going to tie a bow. And cut this so it's nice and neat. There was a little frayed there and I couldn't get it through the hole. And it's up to you if you want to tie a double knot or another bow. I'm just going to do the double knot and then trim the ends. So this would be all set to present to someone as a gift. Trim your ribbon. And then you would just insert your envelopes and all of your cards. Such a cute idea. And then this can just slide off so you don't have to destroy your bow trying to untie it. So now I'm going to set everything aside and I'll show you some additional projects that I've made. The first card, I used 3 of the tags and I stamped one flower and then cut it in half and glued one on each tag, added the leaves and then half of the center. And if you'll notice, the thank you or thinking of you is all straight across. So I'll show you how I did that. And I'm just going to do it on a scrap piece. Now, as far as the thinking, you can actually eyeball it and just ink the thinking, which is no problem. But now we want just the center. So let me clean off my stamp. I'm just going to use a baby wipe to make this quick. And usually I just stamp off to get all the yucky off. Now I'm going to bring in some masking tape. I'm going to put 2 pieces, one on each side of the word of. Okay. Then you're going to ink, remove the masking tape. Now I did get some back here, but remember your tag is only this wide. There's your of. I'm going to clean this off one more time. And now we want the U. So again, I'm going to add masking tape. I'm just going to ink the U, remove, and ink. So now I've turned a horizontal sentiment into a vertical sentiment. So that's how I did that on this card. And before I glued down my tags, I added some of the little branch image throughout my background. So that one's pretty easy. Add the twine to each top and I glued everything down with the stamping dimensionals. So that's card number 1. Card number 2, another one that's quite simple. I added the sentiment with stamping dimensionals. This one's already pre-stamped. And then I used the glue dots that came with the kit, put a whole bunch of them under all these flowers, and just sporadically glued the flowers throughout the background. If I ended up cutting a little piece off, like this one, it ended up on this side. So I didn't waste any of the pieces that I cut off. You can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and it corresponds with some of the flowers that I cut off. Once that was done, I added rhinestone jewels, the center of each flower, and then I tucked a couple of the leaves in under the sentiment. So that's card number 2. Card number 3. Now this one, if you look at your card base, that's this color. There's one of these that's already pre-printed, these little petals right here, and there's one down here. So in order for those to blend in with what I was doing, I brought in this stamp and I created my own flowers, one at a time, one petal at a time. Once that was all stamped, I glued my sentiment in place after I stamped it on the plain white oval, and that's with stamping dimensionals. I then stamped one of the Peekaboo Peach flowers, cut it in 3 pieces. So you see there's 3 petals here, 2 petals here, and 3 here. Tuck those in and glued them in place. Added some of the green branches, and then cut this flower almost to the center, not quite, because this one's a little smaller. So this is one flower cut in 2 pieces and tucked in. And then I added some rhinestone jewels. So that one's pretty easy also. My 4th card, now this one I created with the envelope. Okay, this is the envelope. I glued the flap down. Then I cut the envelope to measure 3 1/4 inches wide. This ribbon that you see here was left over when we created the tag for the box. This does not go all the way across. It looks like it would. The pieces are about 1 inch long, left over from what I trimmed off. So I glued 1 piece on each end, added the thanks with stamping dimensionals, and then just added a stamped flower, 3 of the smaller ones, and the greenery. So that's the envelope part. This one is just one of the card bases cut on the score line, and I ended up cutting a little bit just so it would slide in and out easy. So this measures 5 1/4 inches wide. I used the envelope punch board to trim the 2 corners. Added a piece of white in the center that measures 4 1/4 by 3 let me see. Yeah, 3 1/4. And again, I trimmed the corners with the envelope punch board, stamped my sentiment, glued that in place, and then this is just glued down flat because you want it to slide in your envelope easily. I folded one of the flowers in half and stapled it, and then I glued a flower over the staple. So this is pretty easy. It looks complicated, but it's not, and it's meant to be a pull-out card. So that's card number 4. My last one is pretty neat. It's called a decorative corner card. It's actually a box card, and that's how it stands. And if you look at this, it actually pulls away from the card. So what I did here, this is the actual card base. I scored in the center at 2 1/8, and again on the white side. So let me see if I can find a card. So when your card is open this way, you're going to score 2 1/8 right here, flip it around, and score 2 1/8 right there. So that gives you 3 folds. If you look closely in the inside, there's a piece here that measures 5 1/2 by 2 inches, scored at 1 inch, and I folded it on the score line and glued it right here so that the ends are glued on that strip and it forms the box. Oh, there, you can see it better right there. Now, how did I get this to do this? I'm going to bring in a punch to show you. So the punch that I use is the 1.5 inch punch. What you do is you punch 2 circles out and you fold them in half. You're going to add, oh, I got ink all over my finger. You're going to add glue just to 1/2 of both circles and fold them in half, and you're going to glue them like this side by side. So once they're glued in place, the flap will open. Okay, that's what causes the mechanism to pop open when you open the card. So this is what's under this piece. So once those are glued in place, you're going to add glue to the both halves, and then you press this in place like that. So that's what causes, see how it opens up? And then I tucked a flower underneath and another one there, so they're at an angle. And then I just decorated the front of it. And on the back, all I did was stamp it, or ink the stamp once and stamp 3 times so it gets lighter as we go. And these are just half flowers. So that makes for a pretty neat card. Now, of course, I have one more card, but that is part of the Paper Pumpkin Gurus team that I belong to. And those are, we usually come up with 12 to 14 projects for our subscribers. So if you're one of my subscribers, you're going to be getting a newsletter from me with all the instructions on how to create all of these cards, plus 12 to 14 more projects from the Paper Pumpkin Gurus. So don't forget to sign up for Paper Pumpkin. I'll list the address at the end of my video. And you should sign up by September 10th to receive the September kit. Thanks for stopping by today.